listener mail, right? Which made us decide to go for this topic. We're trying to go in a different direction for episode 3, but we got a listener mail and they asked us, would love for you to have a discussion about open marriages and open relationships. This was a follow-up to what they heard about, falling in love with a sex worker. And they said they loved the episode. And they said they want to talk about open relationships. So I don't know if this listener of ours is in an open relationship because they're in love with a sex worker. We don't know that. We don't judge. But we appreciate the listener mail and we appreciate the topic. So the gentlemen, the boys here, they've taken a bit of time to research open relationship, right? So according to intimacydoc.com, this is a psychologist. This is a psychologist. I'll get the psychologist's name. It's Dr. Michelle, Dr. Catalina Lawson, who is a clinical psychologist, explains what open relationships are. Then I'll open the floor to the gentlemen to give their feedback, to give their opinion. Today, it's a very opinionated discussion. So much passion when we're in the pre-recording meeting. So an open relationship is a type of consensual, non-monogamous relationship where both partners agree to have romantic or sexual connection with other people outside of their primary relationship. The key element is open communication and mutual consent among all parties. Each open relationship can have its own rules and boundaries which are defined and agreed upon by individuals involved. It requires honesty, trust, and open communication to maintain the relationship successfully. I can see you gentlemen shaking your heads saying, what is this? We don't understand what you're going on about here. Tinas, what are your thoughts? Open relationships. Would you approve? Yes or no?
Well, let's start with perhaps maybe breaking down what sort of open relationships are there. As I was going through my research, my little bit of research, I realized there's polygyny, with which one man has many wives. I think we're all versed with this one. Our grandfathers and great-grandfathers used to have many women. They were in a polygamous relationships. And then there's what they call polyandry. This is what they call a woman who is married or has a lot of men as hers. Not a lot of cultures have this one, but I know there are people in, I think it's Nepal, that this is quite popular, customary. And then there's what we call polyamory, where it's non-monogamous. You can have many partners. So you could do your own thing. I could do my own thing. As long as you agree. We have reached a sort of consensus that perhaps maybe if you're the husband, you decide who actually would be the best partner for your wife to be with, depending obviously on the size of the goods, because obviously you don't want a situation where you end up being the one who's competing.
Yeah, but you remember in the article I was referencing, and as well in Women's Health, some couples may choose to give each other the option to veto certain partners or relationships if it makes one of them uncomfortable. So what you're saying is that man can decide, they're in agreement, or a partner can decide, to cancel that other relationship or make them stop because they're not comfortable.
But how do they know if, the other partner is
sexual relationship
well endowed?
Yeah, because that's the honesty. So in an open relationship, there's that honesty. You have to explain that, I met this ex guy or ex, lady, and, they've got the perfect body, they've got this, they've got that, and then if you're not comfortable with that, you can veto it.
So once that happens now, there is risk of the other partner to go behind the back. Yeah.
So that's the risk.
because they would want to experience that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, coming back to me personally,
Yep.
I wouldn't approve that because there is a lot of crazy logistics that comes with that. Like, for example, how would you prioritize who gets the feed first?
Yeah, or who does it first, or
Yes.
Both of
or
you have to
who,
do it at the same time. So I
It's
think one of the
it's no
things which
longer
talks about
open now.
one things which talks about the open relationship is that you can set agreements that, if someone goes away for a business trip, they are allowed to sleep with someone else. This is in the research again, which we've done based on the 6 rules for doing the whole open relationship thing perfectly. This is the article by Women's Health from 2018. So again, you've got those rules and boundaries to say on your work trips, Joe, you're allowed on your work trips, you can blow off some steam, find a nice.
But let's be frank. Is it practical? Does it really work?
To some, it's working. It's a very successful mode because it keeps things fresh and interesting for their relationship.
there's a gentleman, guys. There's a gentleman called Neil Wilkie. That's Wilkie. He was addressing the question: what percentage of marriage couples are in an open relationships? Coming to what you're saying, Joe. So he says it is said that 1% of couples in open marriages, 20% of those couples have experimented with consensual non-monogamy. Open marriages have a 92% failure rate.
Yes.
80% of people in open marriages experience jealousy. I think jealousy is always going to be the biggest threat, if I may, to that sort of arrangement, because the moment you say open, it means your wife can actually quest your friend and say, I want to sleep with this one.
I think that's where Captain P was talking about having rules and parameters.
But it's no longer open then.
No, it is open because you've set boundaries to say this is how far we go in our open relationship. We are allowed to, as I'm alluding with that example of a business trip or a work trip, it's out of state. Maybe you've gone interstate. You're allowed to do that. And you just verify the information to say, yep, I've got my hookup now.
So when it comes to STIs and what then becomes, are you guys going to consistently start testing each other? Because obviously with marriage, there's always that freedom or that comfort of knowing that, or for at least thinking that my partner is not doing anything, so I'm okay. So what then happens with that sort of situation? You always have to have tests then.
Yeah, so that's where they say that it requires high level of communication and transparency, where you find that you have to be communicating to say, let's use protection at all times if we are...
Gentlemen. Let's be real gentlemen. I think we all know what can happen, what can transpire.
Brings to the point where I say it's not practical. To go to, the statistics that you were talking to, there is another, a family law group. It's called Schoenberg. They did some surveys, and the statistics comes to almost the same as you were talking about. They say 1.9 to 9% of total marriages are open marriages, right? While some studies show that 92%, which is exactly similar to what you just said, open marriages end in divorce.
Exactly.
And also 70% of the open marriages, some they report to have better than average relationship, but they still end in divorce. Right? And in another survey, they said 67% of female participants said they would leave a spouse who requested an open relationship. However, on flip side, 46% of men said they would still, agree to the arrangement.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
So you find that most of the people who are actually requesting open marriages that are actually happening are women. And mostly when men request that, it doesn't happen. The woman leaves.
I think traditionally women have always felt that they've always had the rough side of the equation always, because men could do as much as they could, especially coming from a traditional culture where women were supposed to be humble, stay-at-home moms and things like this. So I think now that they're beginning to explore more the new world, where they're allowed to do a lot more things, they see the need to want to experiment more. But obviously, with experimenting more comes the responsibilities of actually, having that same thing happen to you. And a lot of them will not agree.
Yeah. So now you find that there is a difference between men and women when it comes to that. Because as a woman, if you go into having multiple partners, there is risk now of paternity issues.
Exactly.
But for a man, the risk is less because you don't carry any pregnancy.
Yes.
Because if you have pregnancy with an outside partner in an open marriage, who is gonna look after that kid? Who's gonna take the responsibility of giving that kid a son?
Yeah.
Is it me or the outside partner? That's where the dilemma comes in. Because we said using protection is a fallacy.
Yeah, but when you look at it, man, if you go out, we could agree that you can go out and do whatever you do, but then if you come back with a child, I'm not going to stay.
Yeah, but now, are they ready for that responsibility now?
Yeah, well, I guess that's why we see in the world, we now have a lot more single moms, we have a lot more,
So I've got two articles to support what Joe was saying. In terms that there's an article in the Atlantic in 2019, which says women more than men tend to feel stifled by long-term exclusivity, despite having been taught that they were designed for it, right? A psychiatrist, Andrew Gotsis, hope I pronounce correctly, with extensive psychotherapy practice, have been treating couples for several years that they have, the sexual relations about 3 times a week. And in his study, it's shown that women who've been in an exclusive relationship for the long term get bored easily. And that's why, hence, they request open relationships more than men. Another article, this is from 2023. This is from yourtango.com. 6 relationship experts reveal the harsh reasons women get bored with their husbands. And point number 3, they says the marriage lacks variety and new experiences, right? And that word new experiences takes us to the article which I shared in our group in the Daily Mail about the famous YouTuber, Adam22.
That guy.
That guy who rewarded his partner for getting nutted in by another man. Imagine, bought a Lamborghini.
Me, I think it's insanity.
But that's a form of openness, open relationship, isn't it?
Yeah, like I told you.
Which is benefiting. She got a $400,000 Lamborghini. This is according to the Daily Mail, again in July 2023.
Look, I think some of it is just insanity, like Joe is saying. It's just crazy. It's absurdity at its highest. Okay, after having done that, okay, let's say you're okay with her having done that, but what's up with the Lambo?
Because she enjoyed her new experience. It's the same.
It's a way of signaling to the world that he's fine with that.
But he has nothing to prove to us, though. He's nothing to prove to us. Oh my goodness me!
In the research, because when I was sent this article, I wanted to research it a bit further.
Wow.
And this lady, Lena the Plug, that's her name. If you find on social media, Lena the Plug, based on the snippets and the highlights of the detailed research we conducted, she clearly enjoyed this new experience. And of course, the man in the scene, of course, he's well known in that other world. Jason Love, that's his name of the person who she hooked up with. And we'll pin the article on our Facebook page for people to have a read. But again, famous people, famous YouTuber, what a popular podcasting, good on him. Over 4 million subscribers. He let his wife go in an open relationship like that.
If I was Adam 22, I would be admitted in a psych unit. After that, no, I wouldn't be able to live with myself.
What I don't understand is why would he clearly has money. He can clearly go for any woman that he wants. Why would you put yourself through that and then go ahead and purchase a $400,000 car for a woman? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Perhaps it makes sense in the Western world, but from where we come from, it definitely does not make sense.
Yeah, look. So these are the forms of open relationship. They've got that trust. They've got that openness about it, and they felt happy about it. This is an example. This is a live example of a clear open relationship. We know on their podcast, they invite other female porn stars. And after that podcast, they have intimate relationships with them. So it's part of their marriage. It's an open marriage. This is only the first time where she's going to do it as a solo with someone else.
Oh, okay. So this is something that's been happening.
Yeah. So they usually have female
They
porn
even
stars.
invited that guy, what's his name? Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
What did he say?
Andrew Tate was invited. Top G, he was invited by Adam 22 to come and sleep with the partner. So it's something which is in their marriage. They seem happy about it, but I think he
look. Can we say this is a business relationship? Like that is just garnering for views and likes. Are they like? You think it's a proper marriage that they actually intend on, having a family, living a normal life in quotes?
So you're saying Adam 22 is a pimp?
In a sense, mate.
His wife, eh?
In a sense, I'd want to think so, because there's no reason why he would buy a $400,000 car after she's just been manhandled by some dude.
She was clearly manhandled, bro. She was from the snippets in the research we conduct for this, because I was intrigued to say, why is this thing trending on social media?
Yeah. Manhandled is saying it very politely. My word. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I love these episodes. We thank this listener for sending this marriage open relationships. So look, in your marriages, would you agree to an open relationship? Would you agree?
Nah, I'm walking, bro. I'm sorry. I'm walking.
But what if you really love your wife and they say this will bring a spark in our marriage? Would you walk away?
No. That's the one time that I'll tell you love is a 4-letter word, brother. I am not sticking around for that kind of nonsense.
I think Tina's is right, because you can actually step away even if you love someone.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you love them, but for your own mental health, well-being, if it doesn't go down well with you, I think it would be best to just move on.
It's okay to love them from afar.
Yes. From arm's length.
Yeah. So as I said, look, we've seen the stats there. Both genders are equal to that. Men want the open relationship because it's fetishes, it's fantasies, through watching pornography, through having ideas which they have in their head. Women maybe an issue that they want just that refresh, that new experience. As we said, even herself, this lady Lena the Plug, says after 7 years of a relationship, sleeping with the same person, this was just a revitalizing experience. It just refreshed me. That's what she was saying. Looking at your faces, I think we need to share this video clip out. The way you guys are just shaking your head. I haven't
It's crazy, brother. It's crazy.
To all our valuable listeners, would you agree your partner walks to you one day, love, I love you so much, I want to have an open relationship? Would you walk away? Would that seal the end of your marriage? Would that seal the end of your relationship? Or it's something which you'd want to experiment? Let us know on our Facebook. Send us a message. Send us an email. Contact us on Twitter. On our Twitter platform, you can send us a direct message on Twitter about this topic. It's a follow-up from last week. It was a listener who sent us this question and said, look, guys, we want you next week to talk about an open relationship. It's something which they may be facing in their own home. It's maybe something you're facing in your own home. Let us know. How would you handle that? How you handle that in your relationship? Tina's Joe, closing statements before we wrap up.
Gents, no open relationships. Run away. Run away.
For me, if you've got the guts and very strong, the emotional intelligence, stay away, because that thing will kill you. Psychologically, you'll be destroyed just with the jealousy on its own.
It doesn't benefit the man at all because, look, man, the reason why we look for a woman is because we want somewhere to settle. We want someone to settle with. So the moment you start having someone you want to settle with going outside to have affairs with other people, have whatever relations with other people, then the problem now is you are the one who's going to face being responsible for her needs, her uplifting and all things. But then she's going out to have the most valuable thing about her. She's giving it away to somebody else. So I think.
But it's the same with you, because once you're in that agreement, I know it was a closing statement, but we had to fight. I'm just countering it from a standpoint where people have agreed to it. Both of you have agreed. You're doing it on your end. She's doing it on your end.
So what's the point of being married then?
No, I haven't agreed.
I don't agree. I definitely don't agree. But what's the point of being in a marriage?
She's saying that she feels revitalized.
Okay, here's the thing though, Captain. She's got an anchor. And her anchor is the marriage. She knows she can do whatever she wants with anybody else, but she's gonna come back to that guy she can sleep.
Same as you. You can go out and do whatever you want, and you can come back.
Well, I'm speaking from my point of view right now, and why I would not want it. You see, because brother, there's a man out there, brother.
Yeah, there's a man, man.
They will play with her, brother.
Mm-hmm.
They will play with her ways that you cannot play with her. My man, when she comes back home, she's a new girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's a new girl.
On the surface.
My man.
For many years, you were just touching the surface of the equator.
And rightfully, and rightfully, like you're saying, there's also some women out there, rightfully, there are also some women out there who can, really play with the tool. And brother, it's like they have the manual.
So that's what I'm saying. But you see, it comes back to those stats, two different.
Exactly.
You brought your evidence that they all end in divorce.
Exactly.
You brought that. So thank you for an awesome Mama Jen's podcast. Again, to all our lovely listeners from around the world, continue to send your messages. Like, subscribe to all our social media platforms.